In this video, we're going to look at making a clay flower. So you're going to take your clay out of your bag, and what you want to do first is we're going to squeeze it, and we're going to work on our mat so that it can stay clean, so our surface can stay cleaner. So we're going to squeeze this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to either break it or cut it into about 6 or 7 pieces. So I'm going to just twist it apart. So twist, twist. So I'm just turning my hands to break it. Or you can use like a plastic cutting tool and break it that way too. But we're looking for about 7 pieces. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start to make our flowers. So we're going to take a circle. We're going to take one of those and make a ball. So I'm going to roll it in my hand, or I'm going to roll it on my mat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten it. So I'm going to clap my hands together, or I can pat my hand on the table to flatten it out until it's about a cookie size and cookie thickness. That's going to be the center of our flower, what's called the receptacle. That's the part that connects it to the stem. So then we're going to take all of these except one, and we're going to make petals. So if you want circles, we could do the same thing. Make a ball and flatten. And I'm just going to kind of stick those around the outside. So roll it into a ball and flatten. Roll it into a ball and flatten. So I'm just kind of laying mine around the outside just so I can start to see my shape. And we want each of these to be about cookie thickness. Alright, so if you want them to stay circle shapes, you can leave them like that. If you want to change the shape of them, you can. So a few different shapes, we could make them. So we could pinch them a little bit, and we could make them more of an oval shape for our petals, so that we could pinch them and make them longer. We could cut them into another shape. So maybe I want my petal to have more of a point. So maybe I make it more of like a pointy shape, like a triangle shape. Or maybe I want to make more of a heart shape. So you decide, but typically they would all be the same shape. So then let's talk about how we're going to join these together. So I'm going to take my fork, and I'm going to lightly scratch that clay center, that receptacle. So scratch it, and I'm going to add a little bit of water. Water acts like glue for our clay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wiggle it on there. So I'm going to stick it on and wiggle. 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 And then I'm going to use my finger and blend a little bit. So I'm taking that end of that flower petal and smoothing it out onto there. So now we have that. I have my extra clay here, and I'm going to break that into 2 pieces. And I'm going to roll one into a ball and flatten. And I'm going to do the same thing. Scratch my center of my flower too. Scratch. Water. And wiggle. And then if I wanted to add some details, I could draw little lines on this. Or I could put little holes in it to add like details to the center of that flower. Give it a texture. Maybe I want to add a stem, so I could take some of that extra clay and I could roll them between my hands to make like a coil shape. That could be my stem. I'll pinch a little bit of mine off. And again, I want to scratch, water, wiggle to make that go in where I want it to be. So scratch, water, and then I'm going to put it between those two. So I'm going to wiggle that into place and blend it in a little bit. So there's that. And I'm going to pinch a little leaf shape. And scratch, scratch, water, wiggle. Once I'm done, I'm going to leave this out to let it dry. It'll take a few days for it to dry. If you're not done working with it and you need to save it for later, you want to put it back inside that bag so that it does not dry out. But after a few days, it'll be nice and dry and hard, and then we'll look at giving it some color. Have a great day.